Okay, so I think we're being recorded now. I know a lot of people have a lot of questions. There are still a lot of questions that we don't have answers to yet, but I did want to hold something and let you guys know that we are staying on top of it. We're doing everything we can to make sure you guys have actual information. I've been on the internet and paid attention. There is a lot of rumor, a lot of thoughts, a lot of what ifs, but the truth is some of this stuff we just don't know until they get it all the way through. I'm really only going to deal with the financial side of it. I can't do the other part. That's not my knowledge base, but we will try to let you know what's really going on, and mostly just let you know we got your back. We're working for you, and we're going to try to stay on top of it. I do want to thank those of you who have been patient. I know that my production of tax returns has been greatly slowed by this, as I am trying to make sure that we're taking care of this for you guys. But we'll get the tax returns done too, so just stay patient with us. So what do we know so far? So far, there are some things we know for sure. We know the filing deadline has been extended. It is July 15th, and we have confirmation from Missouri and Kansas, and also Kansas City. I spoke to them yesterday, and they have too. I haven't seen an announcement yet, but they've also extended their deadline. So that means we don't have to file, but it also means we don't have to pay. And some people are like, well, I already filed. It's okay. You don't have to pay till July 15th. So just because you filed the tax return, you can wait till July 15th to make that payment, and that will be okay. Those of you who may be watching later, if you're not from Missouri or Kansas, that's on a state-by-state basis, because I was talking with some of my accountant friends earlier, and they were saying in their state they've extended the filing deadline, but not the payment deadline. I think most states will fall in line as this goes along, but you really are going to have to pay attention at a state level. Estimated tax payments have also been extended. So a lot of you who file your taxes on a quarterly basis, I'm just going to lean back here a little bit, on a quarterly basis, the federal and state estimates have also been extended till July 15th. So I know especially a lot of our retirees, they do estimated tax payments, or my self-employed people. That's been extended too, because the idea is they want to keep the money with people so they can get through this time. But that's not payroll taxes. So if you have employees, we're not talking about payroll taxes. That's a whole nother issue, and we'll probably do another one of these for my business clients. Payroll is going to have a whole nother level twist in it, and we're going to get to that as we can. But one of the interesting things that's come out is a lot of people, they call it the gig economy, which is just a word they made up. People have always done extra work. People who are self-employed and don't pay payroll are now really are going to be eligible for unemployment. That is true. That's not a rumor. So if you're self-employed, but you have now been restricted from work, you really will be able to apply for unemployment. So that's the stuff we know. Now, this next part, I want to put a little bit of a blurb in there. One, I'm not an attorney, and two, this hasn't been signed, but this is my interpretation. I read through a 619-page bill in about 2 hours, so this isn't going to be perfect, but I want to get you what I think. So the first section, and this is the one that's going to affect most people, is the rebates and other individual provisions. The bill does allow for $1,200 per adult and $500 per kid, and the AGI limits are set at $75,000 for single, $112,500 for head of household, and $150,000 for married filing joint. So what that means is if you made, for instance, married filing joint $150,000 on your 2018 tax return, you're going to be eligible for the $1,200 per adult and $500 per kid. And when I went through the bill, I didn't see any limits. If you have 12 kids, and those of you who do, you know who you are, it looks to me like it's going to be $500 for every single one of them. There doesn't appear to be a limit. And what they're going to do is they're going to look at your 2018 or current tax return, the latest correspondence you've had with them, and use the direct deposit information from that to make those payments. Now, Manushan earlier said that they were going to try to do that in 3 weeks. I'll be surprised, to be honest. I think it's going to take longer, but if they do, that's great. But don't count the money till it's in your actual bank account, because what if they make a mistake? So make sure you have it before you spend it. But he said he's expecting 15 days after that, if you don't have direct deposit, that they will mail the check. And one interesting thing when I was reading the bill is it said a lot of people have back IRS debt. And the way I read the bill is if you have a back debt, they're still going to give you that payment to get you through. They're not going to offset it. That was a unique twist that I didn't expect. So that does, I think, cover the rebates. Were there any questions on that? I did have one person bring up earlier, they thought, no, the payment does not look like it's going to be a taxable payment. The other thing that somebody said is they saw in the news where you were gonna have to file your 2019 return. That's not the way I read it. And when I look at it, that's probably gonna be like when they had the $600 credit was 5-10 years ago. Where that is your people who are on Social Security or don't need to file. If they haven't filed a return, the IRS doesn't know how much they made and they don't know to send them a payment. So if you have somebody who hasn't filed, they're going to have to file a 19 return to be eligible. Also, if there's somebody who's never filed before, but this is going to be their first year, they're not in the system yet, that person would need to file a 19 return. It's kind of like what they did with the Affordable Care Act, that they required people to file just to be eligible for the Affordable Care Act, even though they didn't need to file for normal purposes. It looks like this is going to be the same kind of thing. Let's see. Good question there. The 150,000 is a floor, just a base place, just like the 75,000. So what they're going to do is from 75 to 100 if you're single. I don't know the next one for head of household off the top of my head. Or married, 150 up to 200, there's going to be a phase out. So if you made 180,000, you're going to get a portion of it, but it will be reduced. So once you go above that floor, it will start to be reduced, but you will still get a payment as long as you didn't make over 200,000. Okay, I think that takes care of those. So the next one was the unemployment. What they're going to do, the way I understand, is they're going to let you self-certify that you've actually been impacted by this. So you're basically going to say, coronavirus caused me to not be able to work, and apply, and that oven by itself is going to make you eligible. There's a lot of language in there that says if they catch you in a fraud, it's going to be a bad deal, but they're going to have to rely on your honesty initially to make the payment. It also, normally you've had to wait a week to apply. They said they're going to waive the week. You're actually going to be eligible right away when we do this, and it looks like it's going to be for 13 weeks. So you should be eligible for up to 13 weeks initially. Listening to the press conference earlier from the president, sounds like if this goes on, they're going to extend some of these things, but for initially, it looks like a 13-week deal. And as I said, if you're self-employed, you'll be eligible as well. So that's what I do see so far in the bill for self-employed and unemployment. So that's a twist. Normally, self-employed can't do that. And it looks like it's going to be $600 a week, but until the IRS gets a hold of some of this stuff and the Treasury gets through some of this stuff, we're not going to know exactly how it's all going to play out for probably another week or two. So is there any questions related to that section? Looks like we're good on that. Another interesting one is the IRAs. So there's two different parts to this. A lot of people have IRA money. If you take money out of an IRA, it's going to be subject to a 10% penalty if you're under 59.5. They're waiving that penalty to allow people to take money out of their IRA to use it to get through this time frame. And then they're also allowing you to use it, and they have an extended time to put it back in later and not cause it to be taxable. Because if you take it out, it will be taxable, but it's going to be exempt from the penalty, but they're going to let you use it for quite a while and then put it back in and not have a penalty or pay tax. So that's something that's maybe will help some that are in a pinch, but do have some retirement money to access that to get them through. Another part of that they've added is the required minimum distribution. A lot of people, when they reach 70.5, or I think the new rule is 72, they have to take the money out of their IRA, a required minimum distribution portion. What they're saying in this bill is they're going to waive that. And the reason is if the stock market is really deflated like it is, they don't want people to have to take it out and take a beating on that. They're going to let them waive that this year so that they don't lose a big chunk of money. Another one that's out there is student loans. Be careful with this one, because if you don't have a federally backed student loan, you better check with the lender, because this waiver is for the loans that the government actually services, not the ones that are owned by private lenders. So don't just assume that student loan has been suspended. Let's see here. So my understanding, they're asking if they claimed a child for the last 3 years and including 18, will they be the one to get the credit? My understanding is they're going to base it on the latest filed tax return. So if in 19 somebody else has already claimed that child, they will get it. But if 18 was the most recent year filed, then you would get it. So some of that we're going to have to see what they do, but that's my understanding, but I don't know for sure. Another question is, do we have until July 15th to fund the 401k? And solo 401s are a special animal, so you do have up until the filing deadline. My gut is yes, but I'm not sure about that. So one of the things we're doing is we're going to file extensions at April 15th, regardless of what they say, because I'm worried about things like that, them coming back later on and saying, yeah, but that didn't count that. So we're going to file extensions on all our clients to make sure that we've protected them from that, because you just never know what they're going to do. But I do think it will be extended till July 15th to fund your 401. The other one that's going to be really big, and I got a lot of information on this evening, is you small business people that have employees. There's, as of yesterday, you can go onto the SBA and do an online application for a 7B loan for federally disaster areas, which we are counted in now, but that system was crashing and not working. What I've since learned is that 7B is going to be a loan that you will have to pay back. The loan that we're hearing about from Congress in this new bill is through the 7A program. And a good friend of mine over at Commerce Bank actually gave me some really good information on that about an hour and a half ago. And so the SBA is starting to roll that information out right now. And so the local banks and most of your bankers, because I've talked to a lot of them, most of the bankers don't even know what's coming yet, but all of your banks are going to be able to offer these loans. And they're based on 2.5, let me pull it out, I believe it's 2.5 times of 2 months payroll. Make sure I got that right. It's equal to 2 months of payroll expenses times a 2.5 multiple. And my understanding is they're going to look at the second quarter of 2019 to figure out what you paid last year. And then for this year, if you maintain the same number and keep your employees paid, they're going to forgive that debt. So this could be a really big deal to help small business guys who have employees to do that. And Mnuchin earlier in the press conference said that they expect to have that ready for people to apply by the end of next week. That by end of next week, businesses should be able to go in and do this. In the press conference, they said that you should be able to get approved in 1 day. I've never seen the government do anything that fast, but maybe they will. So that's the plan, is in about a week and a half, small business owners should be able to get one of these 7A loans. And as long as they use it for essential things such as rent, mortgage, utilities, making sure they pay their employees, and they keep their payroll about the same as it was last year for the same quarter, it looks like that loan is going to be completely forgiven. And that's not the same loan as the 7B that was on the SBA program yesterday on their website. So my advice for now is let's wait a couple of days, see how all this plays out, make sure this bill actually gets signed. And then I think that's going to be the way to go for small business owners, is that 7A program. And it really could help a lot of us get through. There was one part in there that it was just too big for me to go through for tonight, but specifically for restaurants. And so I think there is help coming for them too. But like I said, it was 620 pages and I can only read so much so fast. But I think there's a lot coming there. So really, I think that's most of what we know for sure. The rest of it, we're just going to have to wait and see. So is there any questions people have, anything I can try to answer? We're doing good so far. My wife says it's not loud enough. That's the first time. Hopefully the rest of you guys could hear me. Any other questions? If not, I don't want to waste your guys' evening. Just try to bring you guys up to speed. Oh, there we go. I got a question there. No, as far as the rebate, there's no action that needs to be taken other than you had to have at least filed a 2018 tax return. If you didn't file a 2018 tax return, you're going to need to get your returns current or else you won't be eligible. I don't think it has anything to do with the census. It's just going to be based on filing income tax returns. Home rentals, I don't know that that's going to qualify for the unemployment, but there is some stuff in there that you may be eligible as a 7A owner to get help on that if your rentals were impacted. The thing is, you had to have had impact. If you haven't suffered any loss from this, any challenges, then you're probably not going to be approved. But most of us have been, whether we're working at home, we've had staff has to work at home, we've had kids that have to be homeschooled now, so we're not able to go to work. Really, in this area, most people have had an impact that is going to qualify. Are they suspending IRS payment installments? Not that I'm aware of. I haven't seen that yet. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and end the recording. If anybody wants to stay and ask a few more questions, I'll do that.